Hey, second graders. I'm over here in the corner again. Today our second video of two read alouds. The first is on a religion. The religion is called Hinduism, and it's something we've discussed in class. But before we start today's read aloud, we need to be very clear on something. Religion is part of ancient civilizations. It's part of civilizations as a whole. This is in no way telling you that you need to do these things. This is in no way telling you that you should behave a specific way. How you live your life and what you celebrate and what you do with your family is on you. That's up to you. That's up to your family. This read aloud that talks about a religion is to give us a bigger idea of the world. This is something that other people do. And so we as people want to understand why people make the choices they make, why they do what they do. And in ancient civilizations, religion was a big thing that made, that helped them make decisions, that helped them plan. And so it's an important part of ancient civilizations. So as you're listening to this, I want you to listen to it from the outside looking in. This is in no way trying to convince you that you should follow this religion. No, sorry, Bob. This is about you learning what a major part of this civilization was. And it just so happens that thing is a religion. So listen with an open mind, but remember that you do not in any way need to believe this. You don't need to agree with it. Just listen, and maybe it will give you some understanding of why other people are the way they are. If they're Hindus, which Hinduism is one of the largest religions in the world, and it's, it is the most widely practiced religion in India. So it's a big deal to those people, and having that understanding can help us understand why people do what they do. In the same way we want people to understand who we are, we can reach out to understand what they believe in, who they are. So let's listen to this read aloud with that in mind. All right? So let's get started. This is a picture of the Ganges River in India. Like the Indus River, the Ganges flows down from the Himalayan mountains. Like the Indus, its fertile plain has long provided life to the people of India, supplying water for their crops. But the Ganges has a much greater importance in the life of many Indians. It is the sacred river of the Hindus. In fact, the Ganges is one of the most sacred places in all of India. It is the dream of Hindu people from all over the world to someday visit the Ganges and worship its sacred waters. In this picture, you can see Hindus gathering in the water to bathe in it, which they believe will wash away their sins or wrongdoings. Millions of Hindus make this trip every year. Who are the Hindu people who worship the Ganges? Well, Hindus belong to the world's oldest religion, Hinduism. It is the third largest religion in the world and the most widely practiced religion in India. And Hindus, the people who practice Hinduism, live in many countries all over the world, including the United States. Unlike some religions that worship only one god, Hindus worship many gods and goddesses. In fact, their gods and goddesses, male and female, take many different forms. For example, Hindus believe that the river Ganges is the earth home of Ganga, the river goddess. That is why the river is such a holy place. There are over 300 million gods and goddesses in Hinduism. Each of these gods and goddesses represents or stands for something Hindus call Brahman. In Hinduism, Brahman is a spiritual force which Hindus believe is the source of all existence or life. Hindus believe everything comes from and is related to Brahman. All of the Hindu gods and goddesses represent Brahman, the source of life. Of all the gods and goddesses that represent Brahman, the three most important gods are known as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. They're pictured here. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Ganesh is here to show you that about how the gods come in all different forms. Okay. So let's start with our first god here. This is Brahma. Hindus believe the god Brahma, not to be confused with the spiritual force Brahman, is the god of creation, the one who created the skies, the heavens, the earth, the moon and the sun, the planets and all the stars, the whole universe. Everything and everyone is part of Brahma, the creator and god of wisdom. He is often painted or carved, as he is in this picture, having 4 faces and 4 arms. This is the second one. This is Vishnu. Hindus believe the god Vishnu is the protector of the universe and the preserver of life. Vishnu is also portrayed with 4 arms. In each hand, he holds Hindu symbols of the universe, including a club, a discus, a conch shell, and a lotus flower. Hindus believe it is Vishnu's job to keep order on earth, making sure that everyone and everything is safe. The third most important god in Hinduism, Shiva, that's this picture, is considered both a creator and a destroyer of the universe. He is often pictured as a dancer. A third eye in the center of his forehead is capable of shooting out fire. Shiva's powerful energy is believed to control nature. In fact, according to Hindu legend, Ganga, the river goddess, came to earth by way of Shiva's flowing, tangled mass of hair. Raging violently down from the skies, the river flowed through Shiva's hair, calming its waters before reaching earth. Thus, Hindus believe that Shiva, the destroyer, did indeed destroy the rage in the river's water and prevented greater destruction on earth. In the past, Brahma was worshipped by many. Today, Hindus mainly worship Shiva and Vishnu. Now, like 3 other religions you may have heard about in first grade, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, the Hinduism also has texts, religious texts. While the Christians, Jews, and Muslims all worship one single God and have one single book, Hindus have many gods and goddesses and have many sacred books. Most important among these books are the Vedas, which are sacred hymns and verses. The most important collection of these verses is the Rig Veda. It is a very ancient book, over 3,000 years old. People who follow Hinduism, like many other religions, believe that people should be good and kind to one another here on earth. Hindus try to live their everyday lives by working hard, telling the truth, and doing their duty for their friends and family. Duty is one's responsibility, doing what one knows is the right thing to do. The Hindus call this dharma. Dharma, or duty, is tied to another important belief of Hinduism. Hindus believe that all creatures, human and animals alike, have invisible parts called souls that continue to live after they die. So like the physical body, right? Hindus also believe that these invisible parts are reincarnated or born again into the body of another person or animal on earth. The Hindus' belief in the soul is called reincarnation. Hindus believe that those who fulfill their dharma or duty to others will be spared many cycles of reincarnation. They also believe that those who practice a good life on earth will be freed from life's troubles much sooner, becoming a part of that spiritual force, Brahman. and be at peace forever. Okay, so that's the end of our discussion on Hinduism. Now, if you have any questions about Hinduism, you are always welcome to ask. And I'm apologizing right now if I've said any of the words wrong. But remember, this is what some people believe. It's not what all people believe. And you are not required to believe anything you've heard today. You are not required to take part in anything you've heard today. All you are asked to do is listen with an open mind while you heard about what other people around the world may believe in. Okay, so we are going to go into our second read aloud. We are about to go into our second read aloud, and our second read aloud is a fable that comes from India that talks about a Brahmin as a person. So as a person who practices Hinduism as one of their wise men. So it's a really fun story. So go get a snack, come back. And if you need the comprehension questions, vocabulary words, or any of the pieces that go along with these two stories, don't forget to ask. All right, we are going to get started on our read aloud called The Tiger, the Brahmin, and the Jackal. Once upon a time, a tiger was caught in a trap. He clawed and gnawed at the bars of his cage, but he could not escape. While the tiger was struggling to escape, a Hindu holy man happened to pass by. The tiger called out to the holy man, "Oh, pious Brahmin, help me! Let me out of this cage!" Now, the Brahmin believed in being kind and gentle to everyone he met, and it was part of his religion to treat animals like brothers. But at the same time, he saw the danger of letting the tiger out. "Why should I let you out?" asked the Brahmin. "If I do, you will probably eat me." "No, no," said the tiger. "I swear I won't do that. On the contrary, I will be forever grateful to you and serve you forever." The tiger sobbed and sighed and wept so piteously that the pious Brahmin's heart softened, and at last he agreed to open the door of the cage. As soon as the tiger was out of the cage, he pounced on the Brahmin. "What a silly man you are," said the tiger. "What is to prevent me from eating you now?" "Nothing," said the Brahmin. "Nothing at all. But, brother tiger, consider what it is you are about to do. Isn't it unjust to eat me when I have done you a good turn by letting you out of the cage? Do you think it is fair to eat me up when you promised that you would not do so?" "It is perfectly fair," said the tiger. "Ask anyone, and they will tell you that this is the way of the world." "Will they?" said the Brahmin. "Suppose we ask the next three things we see. Will they agree that it is fair for you to eat me?" Now, there happened to be an old buffalo standing a little way off by the side of the road. The Brahmin called out to him, "Brother Buffalo, what do you think? Is it fair for Brother Tiger here to devour me when I have freed him from his cage? Is it just or fair for him to eat me when he has promised not to do so?" "When I was young and strong," said the buffalo in a hoarse, tired voice, "I served my master well. I carried heavy loads and carried them far, but now that I am old and weak, how does he reward me for my years of service? He leaves me here by the side of the road without food or water. I say, let the tiger eat the Brahmin, for these men are an ungrateful bunch." "Aha!" said the tiger. "You see, the buffalo's judgment is against you." "Indeed, it is," said the Brahmin. "But let us hear a second opinion." A few yards away, there was an ancient banyan tree that cast a shadow on the road. "Brother Banyan," said the Brahmin, "what do you think? Is it fair for Brother Tiger here to eat me when I have freed him from his cage? Is it just for him to do this when he promised he would not?" The banyan tree looked down and sighed. In the summer, said the banyan tree, when it is hot, men take shelter from the sun in the shade I supply. But when the sun goes down, they break off my branches and burn them in their fires. I say, let the tiger eat the Brahman, for these men are selfish and think only of themselves. You see that the banyan tree agrees with the buffalo, the tiger said. Indeed, he does, said the Brahmin, but let us hear one more opinion. The Brahmin looked down the road and spotted a jackal jogging along the edge of the woods. Brother Jackal, he called out, what do you think? Is it fair for Brother Tiger here to eat me when I have freed him from his cage? I'm sorry, said the Jackal. I'm afraid I don't quite understand. Would you mind explaining exactly what happened? The Brahmin explained what had happened. He told the whole story from start to finish. When he was done, the Jackal just shook his head in a distracted sort of way, as if he did not quite understand. It's very odd, he said. I hear what you're saying, but I can't seem to understand it. It all seems to go in one ear and out the other. Could you take me to the place where all of this happened? If I can see where these things happen, perhaps I'll be able to understand what exactly took place. Then I can give my opinion. So the Brahmin led the Jackal back to the cage, with the tiger trailing along behind them, licking his chops in anticipation of a tasty meal. So this is the cage, said the Jackal. Yes, said the Brahmin. And what happened exactly? The Brahmin told the whole story over again, not missing a single detail. Oh, my poor brain, cried the Jackal, wringing his paws. Let me see. How did it all begin? You were in the cage, and the tiger came walking by. Pah! Interrupted the tiger. What a fool you are! I was the one in the cage. Of course, cried the Jackal. That is very helpful. So let's see. I was in the cage, but wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. I was never in a cage, was I? Let me see. The tiger was in the Brahmin, and the cage came walking by. No, that's not it either. Oh, dear. I fear I will never understand. You are not listening to me, roared the tiger. It is so simple. Look here. I am the tiger. Yes. And that is the Brahmin. Yes. And that is the cage. Yes. And I was in the cage. Do you understand? Yes. No. Please. Well, cried the tiger impatiently. Excuse me, but how did you get in? How? Why, in the usual way, of course. Oh, dear me, I'm getting confused again. Please don't be angry. But what is the usual way? At this, the tiger lost his patience. He ran into the cage, bellowing, "This way! Now do you understand how it was?" I think I'm beginning to understand, said the Jackal. But why did you not let yourself out? Because the gate was closed, moaned the tiger. This gate? Said the Jackal. Yes, roared the tiger. Then the Jackal gave the gate a little nudge, and it swung closed with a clicking sound. And that clicking sound, said the Jackal, what does that mean? That means the cage is locked, said the Brahmin. Does it? Said the Jackal. Does it really? Well, in that case, Brother Brahmin, I would advise you to leave it locked. As for you, my friend, he said to the tiger, I suspect it will be a good while before you can find anyone to let you out again. Then the Jackal made a little bow to the Brahmin and went on his way. So that is the end of our story. One of my absolute favorites. The about the tiger, the Brahman, and the Jackal. As you are very familiar with from our tall tale and fairy tale stories from before, this is what we call a trickster tale. So we had a trickster in our midst, and he played a trick on the tiger. So if you need anything, the vocabulary words, the comprehension questions, or any of our discussion questions that we had while we were in class, please feel free to email me, and I will get those to you. So I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and stay tuned for the next 2 stories coming your way. All right. Have a wonderful afternoon.